Welcome to all attendees for the first Q&A session for the BM Cycle 4. Today's session will cover the challenge statements under the thematic pillar of digital assets delivery and project management. I'm your host for today's session, and today we are joined by our challenge statement owner, as well as representative from the BM committee. To kick us off, I'd like to invite Arnold Leong, Executive Manager from Built Environment Technology Alliance team, or BCA, to say a few words. Arnold, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon to all. I'm Arnold from the Built Environment Technology Alliance, or BETA in short, and outfit at BCA. So once again, a very warm welcome to the first Q&A session of the Built Environment Accelerate to Market program, or BM in short, a platform to bring innovators and firms together to fast-track the innovation process to solve challenges in our sector. So after an exceptionally challenging few years with the COVID pandemic, we are finally seeing an evident recovery, as well as the strengthening of the sector and reopening globally. The built environment sector is therefore seeking to both regain the lost ground as well as to break new ground. And this cannot be achieved without the technologies and innovative solutions that have now become imperative to our businesses. So as the sector emerges stronger, we are optimistic of the new opportunities for new technologies as well as innovation. So this year, we are in our fourth cycle since the inaugural one in 2019. And we are glad to continue this partnership with Padang & Co., our appointed accelerator, as well as Enterprise Singapore and JTC. I'm glad that you have taken some time off this afternoon to join us today and to be part of the BM Cycle 4, which has continued to garner the interest from the industry with 13 challenge statements in areas ranging from the digital asset delivery and project management, building inspection, maintenance and facility management, automation and robotics for construction, as well as advanced design and fabrication. To our challenge statement owners, it is encouraging to see new faces as well as some familiar ones whom we are grateful for their continuing support. And we warmly welcome you on this journey with us to build up our built environment innovation ecosystem, to co-innovate and create new partnerships. To the prospective innovators, this is a window of opportunity to establish networks with our firm as well as potential investors to develop new expertise or match your expertise with the industry firms. And in doing so, we hope that sustaining investment partnerships can be forged between our innovators and firms and lead to both our firms and innovators building up their innovation capabilities and new competitive advantages to bring greater growth and revenue. The theme of today's Q&A session will be in the area of digital asset delivery and project management. And we'll see each of the three firms, namely Obayashi, Penn United, and LT Sambo, make a short presentation and provide more insights to their challenge statements to allow prospective innovators to appreciate the challenges at hand and to understand the requirements and hopefully inspire and generate new possibilities towards the desired outcomes and solutions. So please feel free and do not hesitate to step forward and clarify. And last but not least, we hope you'll find this session fruitful, enriching, and inspiring to develop new and meaningful partnerships. I wish you all a good start to Cycle 4 as we embark on this exciting BM journey. So over to Zipeng to kickstart our session. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold, for the encouraging welcome. I must highlight that Arnold is an important champion for BM, and you will definitely hear from him and receive his generous support if you are selected for the program. Introducing myself, I am Zipeng, Head of Programs from Padang & Co. Padang & Co, as what Arnold has shared, has been reappointed to be the acceleration partner of the fourth cycle of BM. And we have exciting plans in store for our previous cohort of innovators, as well as the innovators that will be selected for Cycle 4. This is the agenda for today's Q&A session. I will give a brief introduction to BM Cycle 4, answer some questions that you might have regarding the program, and then we will proceed to hand over the time to our challenge statement owners, who has graciously agreed to be present today, to share about the challenge statements that are listed on this slide. Representative from the BM committee will also be staying back for a while at the end of today's session to address any further questions that you might have. The Built Environment Accelerate to Market Program, or BM for short, is a great platform and opportunity for innovators like yourself to co-develop, test bed, and pilot solutions with our challenge statement owners. You will work in close consultation with the challenge statement owners to refine your solution based on their requirement, and thus get your solution ready for adoption and commercialization. Furthermore, successful eligible innovators will enjoy co-funding support from Enterprise Singapore for prototype development, test beds, and pilot development. Successful innovators will also enjoy pitch coaching and refinement, specially tailored for your company's business and solution, to prepare you for industry showcase events that we will be organizing, such as the Built Environment Demo Day. BM is also a great platform to access a wider network of partnership opportunities and expand your company's exposure to local and international networks. I would like to take this opportunity to do a quick shout out to our ecosystem partners that have kindly agreed to support BM. We are currently in our 4th cycle of the program. We have worked with over 50 industry firms to identify 93 unique challenge statements. We have awarded a total of 35 projects over the past 3 cycles. You can learn more about our past projects by visiting the stories page on our website, bm.sg. My colleague will be helping to drop the link in the chat if you would like to visit the website. For Cycle 4, we are excited to have these leading firms of the built environment sector to come on board as our challenge statement owners. As Anna has shared, some are long-time supporters and also beneficiaries of the program. And on the other hand, we have new firms that contribute a diversity of challenge statements and thus new innovation opportunities. Today, we will be featuring the challenge statements under Digital Asset Delivery and Project Management pillar. We also encourage you to register for the other Q&A sessions if you are interested to learn about the challenge statements under those thematic pillars. The dates are currently displayed on the slide and the timing will be the same as today's session. While the recording of the Q&A session will be made available on our website on a later date, we strongly encourage a live attendance of our Q&A sessions because our session presents an opportunity for you to interact with our challenge statement owners before submitting your proposal, helping them to form a stronger impression of your company. Yeah. So just to break it down to you regarding the process. So this diagram explains the process of making an application up to the award of projects. We are currently at the first step, which is the Q&A sessions. We encourage innovators to maximize this opportunity to ask questions to our challenge statement owner so that you have all the information needed to prepare your proposal. Proposals submitted by the 14th of October will be shared with our challenge statement owners for preliminary reviews. Selected submissions will enjoy priority to schedule consultation with our challenge statement owners. You could also benefit from feedback provided by the representative of the BN committee, which comprise of staff from BCA, JTC, Enterprise Singapore, and Pada & Co. Resubmission of your proposal is allowed until 7 November this year. 7 November will also be the application deadline for innovators that did not make an early submission. Depending on the relevance and overall strength of your proposal, selected innovators will be prioritized for the consultation sessions, where the sessions could happen at any time between the early submission deadline and the selection of an innovator by the challenge statement owners. Please note that there might be multiple sessions with the objective of ensuring clarity and alignment between the innovator and challenge statement owner, especially regarding the outcomes of the resulting project. The evaluation and shortlisting process will occur in the following manner. Your latest application for BM Cycle 4 will be reviewed by the BM committee, as well as our challenge statement owner. The BN committee will check your application details to ensure that you are eligible for the program and funding, and also conducting their own assessment of the proposal. The latest version of your proposal would also be channeled to the challenge statement owners. Final rounds of consultation sessions will be arranged, and once the challenge statement owners are confident of their selection, they will issue a letter of intent to their preferred innovator and their feedback on the innovator to the BN committee. Innovators will be shortlisted by the committee with consideration of the feedback from the CSOs and the outcomes described in the letter of intent. Shortlisted innovators will be invited to present their proposal to the BM committee and to provide further clarifications as necessary. The decision to award ASD or MD projects will happen in January 2023 onwards. Awarded innovators will need to complete the grant application process in order to receive the requested funding support. Project may commence once you receive notice from the BN committee regarding the award. There are two development tracks for BM, and you will need to apply for the appropriate track depending on the tech maturity of your proposed solution to address the challenge statement. Please note that we also welcome applications from innovators with well-developed solutions and can help to facilitate direct tech matching with our challenge statement owners. Let me explain both tracks a little more so that you understand which track to apply for. If your company has just discovered the challenge statement or is in the early stages of developing a solution that could potentially address any of our challenge statements, you should apply for the Accelerate Solution Development Track, or ASD for short. The proposed scope of development for ASD track should be planned to be completed within 3 to 6 months. Examples of activity that could be carried out during ASD include user studies, tests to ensure the usability of the solution, develop prototypes or run simulations to demonstrate technical feasibility and accuracy, align the solution blueprint and pilot implementation plan with the stakeholders, or conduct a cost-benefit analysis to ensure the viability of the solution. BM will help subsidize your development costs. Funding support for the ASD track is capped at 30,000 Singapore dollars, or 70% of the qualifying costs. So looking at the red box, the market development phase. So if your company has developed a prototype or early product, and you have identified that further developments are needed in order to ready your solution for adoption and commercialization, you then should apply for the market development track, MD for short. The proposed scope of development for MD track should be planned to be completed within 12 months and should result in a complete solution that can be commercialized. For MD track, you should seek to further develop your solution to sufficiently address the requirements of a group or demand driver that can serve as your early adopters. Activities could include deployment and testing of your solution in sites with real operating conditions, integrations with existing systems, and practical developments to make your solution enterprise ready. Funding support for MD track is capped at 250,000 Singapore dollars, or 70% of the qualifying cost. It's important to note that projects that successfully complete the ASD track is eligible to apply for the MD track to continue the solution development initiated during ASD. I hope that I managed to pique your interest to apply for the BM Cycle 4. After you learn about the challenge statements through today's session, these are the steps to apply for the program. Step 1, visit bm.sg and click the Apply Now button found at the top right corner. Download the proposal template and fill it out. Then step 3, complete the online application form. Upload your proposal and the requested documents such as your ACRA business profile, pitch deck, CVs of the core development team so that you have a complete application. I believe my sharing has helped you gain clarity regarding the BM process, but there might be some details that I might have missed. I'll pause here for a minute to address any questions that you might have. Please give me a while to open up the Q&A table. Okay. We are just looking at some of the questions. Okay, so there's a question regarding whether overseas startup, whether they are able to join the BM program. So overseas startup can apply for the BM Cycle 3 for a direct tech matching opportunity, especially if your solution can address the challenge statements. But in order to qualify for the funding that supports the development of your solution, you will need to be a company with 30% local shareholding. I hope that clarifies the answer, your question. Okay. Okay, there's a question from Ivan. Is the funding for the 3 to 6 months pilot of, is there any other criteria in addition to the 70% qualifying costs? In regards to funding questions, I think it's best to drop us an email so that we can provide you with more details. But I would want to quickly answer that yes, the funding for the ASD track, it is for the 3 to 6 months period, which is capped at 30,000. Okay, so are we able to query more with the BM committee after this session? Okay, feel free to drop us an email at bm@padang.co. So my colleague will be dropping the email inside the chat. Yeah, so there are quite a number of questions regarding funding. I would highly encourage you to drop an email to bm@padang.co to gain further clarification regarding funding. As I think there's some context that we might need to gather from you. Okay. I would like now to proceed to the challenge statement presentations and Q&A. So these are the challenge statements that will be featured in today's Q&A session. So the first presentation would be by Tomohiro Yoshimura, project manager from Obayashi, Singapore. And it will be on the challenge statement automated collection of carbon emission data. Tomohiro, do turn on your camera and unmute yourself, and we can kick off your presentation.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tomohiro Yoshimura from Obayashi Singapore Private Limited. And my colleagues Shurong and Chushong are joining to support our Q&A session. Our challenge statement is automated collection of carbon emission data. First, I'd like to start from background. Building and construction sector are responsible for 39% of greenhouse gas emission. Firms in the construction industry, including Obayashi, are increasingly committed to work towards carbon neutrality. As part of Obayashi Sustainability Vision 2050, as well as Singapore Net Zero Target by 2050 and Singapore Green Plan 2030, measures introduced to reduce carbon emission include first, reducing the fuel use by promoting the new technologies and labor-saving construction. And second, developing and practically using energy-saving construction machines and low fuel consumption and electric construction machinery. In order to determine the effectiveness of such measures, it is important for overseas to fast-track the current carbon emissions of their site. Next, I would like to explain current practice. Currently, there are no established practices of collecting site-level data related to carbon emissions. When I talk about fuel purchased directly by Obayashi, we can collect data from fuel suppliers invoice without description. So we don't know how much fuel was consumed by each machinery. When I talk about the fuel purchased by suppliers or vendors, we can rely on only their reports, either under Scope 1 or Scope 3, which is difficult for us to judge their correctness. It is very difficult for me to justify the quantity of fuel which suppliers or vendors allocate to our site. So to collect carbon emission data more accurately, which come from fuel consumption, if Obayashi were to implement new practices that involve manual data collection, it would be too time-consuming, and also that data may not be so reliable due to human factors. Obayashi wants to reduce both direct and indirect carbon emissions. Indirect carbon emissions are contributed by other companies operating on our site, such as subcontractors and suppliers, which fall into Scope 3. Regardless the carbon emission falls into Scope 1 or Scope 3, we consider it is important to capture accurate data to determine effectiveness of measures for reducing emission. The opportunity, we are interested in solutions.
Interrupt. I think it's quite hard to hear your presentation. Perhaps you need to
Okay.
speak louder.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, better
Okay. Okay. Opportunity. We are interested in solutions that can automatically collect site-level data related to carbon emissions. The data of interest include first, carbon emissions produced by logistic vehicles, for example, dump truck and lorries. This can be estimated by determining the number of vehicles operating on site and their fuel consumption. Second, carbon emissions produced by construction machineries, for example, gensets, tower cranes, and excavators. This can be estimated by determining the number of machines operated on site, type of the operation, and their energy consumption. The solution can adapt AI-based visual analytic method on existing site surveillance system to collect the data mentioned above for all companies involved without requiring site-wide modification of vehicles and machineries. We are open to adapting new surveillance systems that can support effective and accurate collection of data. In order to better plan, measure, and promote collective action by all stakeholders, it is useful if the data collected can generate the following insights. First, breakdown of carbon emissions based on company. This can help to categorize the emission into Scope 1 and Scope 3. Second, breakdown of carbon emissions based on vehicle or machinery type and model. Third, identification of operation abnormalities that could lead to higher emissions. For example, smoke generated from the faulty machine. The solution can be integrated with project management or logistic management platform to produce more accurate carbon emissions data on the project site. It would include a dashboard to visualize the data collected and produce useful breakdown of carbon emissions. Lastly, I'd like to talk about expected outcomes. Carbon emission tracking system collects and analyzes the emission data of every vehicle and machine on the whole site, regardless of its owner. Data has breakdown based on company, so most probably we can automatically classify each emission into scope 1 and scope 3. Also, the data will support decarbonization measures. The solution would be part of overseas effort to develop a carbon emission tracking system that can consolidate and track all our direct and indirect carbon emissions. And when this solution to be used widely, it will contribute for us to make proper effort to reduce carbon emissions, not only for Obayashi, for all of our firms inside our construction sector. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tomohiro. So we will want to pause here for a moment to invite questions from our audience, specific for this challenge statement. Okay, so there is a question from Ivan. So he say, are you looking to implement a new hardware to track emissions or anything that we can currently use, e.g. Existing and historical CCTV cameras?
Yeah, if possible, I want to use the current existing CCTV camera, the data from the existing CCTV camera, then capture some vehicle or machinery activity, then generate such a tabulation, counting, and tabulation of the carbon emission. But if, let's say, our existing surveillance camera, let's say, is not sufficient, we are open to adding some of the additional facilities.
Yoshimura-san, perhaps you could share more about the challenges about installing hardware to the existing equipments and the logistic vehicles.
Currently, we install normally some surveillance camera, especially nearby the site gate and where we can capture our site major activities. But this is just for main purpose of these cameras is for, let's say, security or just capturing what is going on site, not to capture such a detail of let's say, for example, one of the detail is this kind of carbon emission. Just only capturing the activities only roughly, so may not be sufficient to capture the convert into the carbon emission. But even though if such a I'm assuming something like AI-based surveillance monitoring system. So, for existing surveillance camera, it can be used for the can be adapted to the this kind of system. It is good for us. Also, the cost is not no need so much the additional cost. So we are very happy to be able to adapt.
Another question from Ivan. Would you consider using better labeled fuel invoices or some kind of simple tracker for how much fuel is being provided to each vehicle or machinery?
How much means
basically, I mean to better to identify the carbon emissions through the fuel invoices.
Yeah, the fuel consumption directly purchased by OSC. Yes, we can easy to justify, easy to count. But overall the quantity, but to establish the decarbonization measures, it's better to understand the fuel consumption each machine by machine. This one, same thing, the go to the subcontractors, most probably fall into the scope 3. The one also, if I at this present moment just we collect the data from the supplier or subcon vendor just to report. No, actually nobody is counting or calculating for the fuel consumption for each of the site for by supplier or subcontractors. So even though this kind of the fuel consumption falls into the scope 3, I think it is important to justify or identify the effectiveness of the decarbonization activity. Yeah, it is important to know the accurate condition. So my setup is challenge statement.
Thank you so much for helping to answer the questions. I believe that that's all the questions that we have from the attendees today. Thank you so much, Yoshimura-san. Feel free to turn off your camera while we invite this presenter to present on the next challenge statement. Okay, so next up we have Mr. Liu Jinping from Hitchens to present on his challenge statement, intelligent remote monitoring of waterproofing works. Over to you, Mr. Liu.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the introduction. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, it's my pleasure to introduce challenge statement from Hitchens International Private Limited. So, our challenge is intelligent remote monitoring system for waterproofing. So the background, you see, waterproofing involves the application of waterproof membranes or physical barriers to prevent moisture from penetrating building structure. So waterproofing works, is a manual process done by skilled workers. So the quality of work is highly depending on the skill and the execution of these workers at each step. So supervision and the timely instruction are important to assure the quality of work, as the waterproofing project size could vary in requirements, conditions, and the such complexity. So it is time consuming and costly for engineers and the technical manager.
I give you the itinerary. Okay, I need to share.
So this is a site, especially those located overseas. You see, our engineer, because we have sales to overseas, so our technical guy have to travel a lot to overseas, so to provide supervision and to perform quality inspections. So even with site visits, it is still not feasible to monitor and inspect the entire waterproofing process to assure every step is done with minimum flaws. So any flaw in the process can lead to a waterproofing failures, so which then require costly rectification works or worse, cause damage to the building structure or system. So poor workmanship is the main cause of such failures. So the opportunity is an intelligent remote monitoring system that enables the remote monitoring, inspection, and also instruction of the workers. The solution could even improve the waterproofing process to help the workers consistently achieve good quality of workmanship. It will ultimately help to reduce the needs for our engineers and the technical managers to be on site to assure the quality of waterproofing work. So the solution, what we want is, could be a Internet of Things device installed on site, attached to the workers or both, and must fulfill the following requirements. So it must be easy to set up and not obstruct or interfere with the waterproofing activities. It must be able to monitor the activities for the entire surface area that require waterproofing. So it must work for different waterproofing products. But at this moment, we are prioritize only 3 products. So the following products are to be prioritized. The application and the installation method can be found in the respective brochures. So number 1 product is traffic guard for roof. So number 2 products from CA3000X is for basement. The number 3 products for foam decks unit is for wet area. So even with possibility of 24/7 remote monitoring, the engineers and the technical managers cannot dedicate too much of their time to actively monitor the waterproofing process. So the solution should enable the entire process to be monitored, but be intelligently alert engineers and the technical managers on progress, issues, and any abnormalities. The solution must include a dashboard that integrates the monitoring information and the alerts from different project sites. So the outcome expected is an imaging device perform real-time remote monitoring of workers perform waterproofing activities, thereby reducing the needs for engineer and the technical manager to be on site. The data collect is analysis, and the relevant stakeholders are sent alert regarding the progress, issues, and the abnormalities. So you can find the brochure of these 3 products from the link actually in the website by Google Drive. I think on BMP website already have this link. I not able too much time on this, but I try to summarize some simple application steps. For example, traffic guard, step 1 is apply primer. Step 2, leave the primer surface to dry. Step 3, application of first body coat. Step 4, unroll fiberglass over first body coat. Step 5, immediately apply second body coat. Number 6, apply traffic guard top coat. This is for traffic guard for roof application. Second one is Form C3000X. This one is for basement or underground project or tunnel. So step 1 is apply of bitumen primer. Step 2, laying of membrane on slab. Step 3, side and end lapping of membrane. Step 4, termination of at the upturn. Step 5, laying of membrane on wall. Step 6, completion. This is a product 2. Product 3, we call foam dex unit. This is a 2-part cementous waterproof membrane. So step 1, corner reinforced with fiberglass. Step 2, membrane applied to pipe. Step 3, termination at the 300 mm height. Step 4, membrane applied with roller. Step 5, membrane applied in second coat. Last step is membrane. Some cases have to apply to 1.8 meter high, depending on the project. Okay, this is all from me. So any question?
Thank you, Mr. Lu. Perhaps I will ask a question of my own. So what are the common workmanship issues for this waterproofing works? And just to help innovator have a sense of what exactly are they monitoring of the workers?
Okay, well, basically, you see, for all the products, we have metal stamina. So the problem is workers may not always follow the metal stamina. So the common problem like, okay, some products, let's say we have to mix part A and part B. So how is it mix? Whether mix in the right proportion and the right time, or use the right tools is sometimes is a problem. Second one is, you know, so waterproofing is whole integrate protection. You see, anywhere, let's say you never apply, then water will come in. The water will come. So we must make sure the whole area, even especially the corner and the sides, everywhere must apply according to our instruction. So, for example, some platform membrane, we need to make sure there's overlapping and the joints must perfectly, you know, apply or protect it.
Thank you, Mr. Lu. Another question. So currently to inspect for quality, right? What your engineers currently do?
Basically, currently, so our engineer must go to the site. So, you know, depending on the experience, they do visual inspection. So they have a checklist, must manually check one by one.
Okay. So looking at the Q&A panel, there's no questions from the attendees. Thank you so much, Mr. Lu.
Thank you.
Yeah. If any of, I mean, for those that are watching the recording, if you have any questions, feel free to send them into bm@padang.co. Now I'd like to proceed to the next challenge statement presentation by Jonathan Lim. So Jonathan Lim is from Penn United Corporation. Over to you, Jonathan.
Hi, thanks, Zipeng. Okay, great. So, very good afternoon to one and all. My name is Jonathan, and I'm from Penn United Corporation, and I'm also part of their sustainability team. And today, my presentation will be about the seamless material tracking for cement tanker. So a little bit about Penn United. So 40% of concrete poured in Singapore is actually supplied by Penn United Concrete, and that's over in 2020 alone. And this is made possible, you know, by a workforce of more than 900 employees. And covering, we have more than 30 batching plants island-wide, ready to supply concrete, ready-mix concrete to any project site around Singapore. So here's a little bit of Concrete 101. for people who are not aware what is, because there's often a confusion between cement and concrete. So actually cement is a key ingredient in concrete, as you can see here. So imagine concrete is like baking a cake that uses many ingredients. So these are the 5 key ingredients that have been used to produce concrete for more than even up till today. And yeah, to reiterate, so one of the key ingredient of concrete is actually cement itself. So our operation actually covers the entire supply chain of our raw materials. So from the left-hand side, you can see that we have a cement terminal located in the Jurong port, where we basically store imported cement from Japan. And next to it, we have our slag grinding plant, also known as green cement, in our nearby Johor, Malaysia. And we also operate our own quarries, aggregate quarries, in Indonesia, Karimun Island. And last but not least, where they're all delivered to Singapore to be ready-made concrete. And yep. So here's a snapshot of a typical concrete mixer truck. And to avoid any confusion, so we are here to talk about cement tankers today. So here are 2 examples of some of the cement tanker in our fleet. So on the left-hand side, you can see that the cement tank is actually mounted on the chassis itself, whereas on the right side is actually a towed model. So what do I mean by that? So you can see that the tanker is by itself and it will be towed by the heavy vehicles. And this is what they will typically look like in our concrete batching plant, where cement is being loaded onto the silos. And here to give some context, here's a typical unloading process of a cement tanker. So first, the cement tanker will arrive at the plant, pending whether is there any queue, because there may be more than one materials arriving at one point in time. So there's a queue for this weighbridge. And then first they take the incoming measurement. Next, they'll proceed to unload the cement onto the silos. After unloading, they will have to queue again for the weighbridge. Again, depending on the traffic condition, we will be experiencing certain peak periods. Some materials may all come at one time, and we do not have controls over certain traffic arrangement, especially overseas sources such as cement from Malaysia. And then last, they will take the outgoing measurement to ensure, that what was reflected on the delivery orders is being unloaded onto our cement silos. And to share a bit more in construction, especially in a concrete context in Singapore. So the Singapore average concrete volume per year over the last 5 years ranges in now around 11.5 million meter cubic. And in 2021, the construction demand is actually 30 billion Sing dollars. And for the next 3 years, it's actually forecasted to be in the range of 20 to 32 billion in the average annual demand. And this is also largely because there's many upcoming major infrastructure projects, such as the stage 4 of the Thomson East Coast Line, our Cross Island Line, and even our Changi Airport Terminal 5, to name a few. So what are the opportunity areas and the key challenges that we would like to address? So first, you must be able to, of course, calculate accurately the volume of cement. And next, you should be able to identify the license plate of the tanker, as this will serve as a unique identifier. And ideally, it does not require the cement tanker to stop for measurement, and this will ensure a smooth traffic flow in and out of the concrete batching plant. And last but not least, you should not require any installation of devices or sensors in or on a cement tanker, as we also purchase from cement from overseas and external sources that we do not have control over their cement tankers. So in short, the solution should be accurately, be able to measure the volume of cement, and that will eliminate the use of a weighbridge in a concrete batching plant. And for scalability, in the future we can consider also using for delivery for different type of materials that are delivered by dump trucks or tipper lorries. So with that, I end my presentation here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. A quick question from me. So for these challenge statements, right, have you explored existing solutions in the market? Is there any, what are the learnings from exploring those solutions?
So what we have in the existing, so one way would be the X-ray, X-ray radar system that the ICA are using. So those are too precise and also too expensive, and last but not least, they are also very bulky. So one thing is that in Singapore we also face with space constraint, and we do not have and many of our land are actually on short TOL. We do not have long lease on them. So ideally, the solution must be also able to be able to install and dismantle in a quick amount of time.
Thank you, Jonathan. A question from Ivan. So do you have a real-time fleet management software or live operators for concrete distribution?
For concrete distribution, yes, there is. So they are all monitored at our command center. So we actually have GPS fitted in all our concrete mixer truck. But whereas in this scenario, we're talking about cement tankers. So of course, cement tankers that are operated by Pan United Group also will have this visibility. But anything beyond our control, yes, we will not have that sort of visibility.
Okay, so there's another question. Ivan was wondering whether you use any ERP software to track the input material supply chain.
Our ERP software are all developed in-house. So they have the ability to, once delivered, they are all being projected back to HQ, where there's a HQ team of material engineers. They're also looking at this. So they were able to see a livestock view, of our plant operations pertaining to trucks here.
I'm guessing that Ivan is trying to see whether, based on the other data, that he's able to calculate the volume of cement. Maybe just to get your thoughts on that. Like, I mean, invoices and everything.
So yes, invoice is one thing. So traditionally we use weighbridge, and then weighbridge has many moving mechanical parts and critical components such as a load cell. So when things like this break down, we often have to rely on what is being reflected on the DO. So and then what is on the delivery order might not be the actual content that is also inside the tank as well. So this is one way to we hope to address pilferage.
Okay. Another question. So how precise does the cement measurement needs to be?
If you were to ask me, ideally, of course, I would say, of course, it should be as precise as possible. But we also understand there are certain constraints as cement. They are very fine materials, almost powder-like. They are only about 40 microns. So we are willing to accept some allowance, but that is of course we are open to further discussion on that.
Yeah. So when referring to cement, are you referring to the OPC tankers?
Yeah,
do you
that's
have
right.
a volume for each cement and OPC tankers?
Yes, that's right. We are referring to OPC tanker. So they come in various sizes. So earlier on I featured two models. So one being that is permanently on the chassis itself, and then the other one is the tote model. So for tanker, they are mounted on the chassis itself. They ranges from 20 to 30 tons, whereas for the tote model, they ranges from 40 all the way up to 50 tons.
Another question from Ivan. So is there opportunity to build off the existing in-house system for fleet tracking / ERP?
what kind of opportunity are we talking about?
Yeah, actually, based on Ivan's line of questioning, not too sure where he's coming from.
I see.
Yeah,
Probably we can take this offline.
Yep.
And yes.
Yeah, so Ivan, do drop us an email. I think I can channel the question to Jonathan to help respond. And I mean, based on your proposed solution approach, just to really consider whether it's feasible. Okay, yeah. So I think that's all the questions that we have. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now proceed to the next challenge statement. So the next challenge statement is data-centric approach to trench cutter machine operations. It will be presented by Mr. Cho from LT Sambo. Mr. Cho, do turn on your camera and unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is BJ Jo. I'm representing LT Sambo to give this presentation. So our challenging statement will be data-centric approach to trench cutter machine operation. So this means to develop a system that can automatically collect the data of excavation or activities generated by the trench cutter machine during the excavation. So in future, we could explore how the collect the data may help in the machine automation. Okay, this is contents, so I just skip. So before we dive into the topic, here's a little background information. So from our underground structural element commonly used as a permanent foundation walls. So we normally just say a D wall. So D wall excavate using the various type of machines like hydraulic and mechanic grab or trench cutter machines. So the trench cutter machines are widely used in most of the D-Wall project in Singapore to make project more efficient and save time. So each machine could generate a lot of different data from each excavation panels in various locations. So this implies that a massive amount of excavation data are created. So these data could be used to help to develop the future project in a cost-effective manner and make sure the project plan is correct. That thing, as you guys probably know, the underground construction such as a bolt buy or soil improvement or tunneling and D-wall are all invisible process at underground, since we do not know what soil condition will it be before excavation. So before we carry out any of this type of work, we conduct a soil investigation to understand the ground condition of geotechnical design. But however, it cannot be complete convinced as we require additional data and must rely on operators' experience and skills. So the operator check the soil condition using the eye inspection and monitoring the machine's data to decide the best approach to operating machine to carry out the excavation. For example, if during the excavation, like if the main wire of the trench cutter, which can only seen on the surface of a trench, is outside of the lanes of that operator has set up, it indicates that vertical of trench is out of tolerance. So operator could identify this when the monitor displays the digital figures received from the vertical sensor, which install the trench cutter body. That impact of the current practice that the operator is lack of sufficient sense of operation. So when operator encounter tough soil conditions such as a weak layer of ground condition or something like a rock layer, or that differ from the data provided by soil investigation. I mean the previously, like for example, we conduct the soil investigations before, then after during the real excavation, the data cannot be 100% match. So it takes longer time to excavate and cause the additional problems such as collapse trench. So as a result, the site progress is delayed, then become more time consuming and the cost is increased. So like opportunity, like currently our LT Sambo has our own manual data collection system, such as average excavation speed or like tools consumption. Like tools means the cutter body already installed the tools. So then operating hours and like part of the machine that require the repair, what kind of part of machine we repair before. But nevertheless, though we are still interested in the upgrading the trench cutter machine with a new system that can automatically collect data and evaluate soil characteristics. Yeah, so in the future, this massive amount of data records may be used as a vital source to automate machine operation without the need for the operator in the cabin. So you can see this the type of source we want to collect on time. So those things are what we learned from the previous site in Singapore, is that these are all crucial sources for the developing automate machine operation. So with the new system, we hope to achieve the following scores. So firstly, we wish that we can identify soil characteristics during the excavation, which can reach 100% consistency with the result evaluated in the lab, like a soil investigation result. Then what's more is we can predict the kind of soil based on the trench cutter excavation speed and the visible color of like suction the soil from this trench cutter body during the excavation. Then as I previously mentioned, an important aspect of excavation is that it is dependent on the operator's experience and skills. So with a data-centric approach, all these new features of the new system and the massive amount of the data record, the operator or machine would be able to understand many more instances that could occur in the future. Those could also probably aid in the machine automation developing in the future. So what are expected outcome for given challenging statement? Like as just a summary of the outcomes, I would like to emphasize on two points. So firstly, we must collect and analyze accurate data in order to automate the excavation. Then incorporate it into the machines. As a result, it aids for the project in terms of cost and time consumption, enhancing the work quality and determining better approach such as depth and structure design, along with many other things. Second, when we arrive at the data-centric automatic operations, we could use these techniques to reduce and eliminate mistakes and accidents caused by human error. That's all I would like to share today. And thank you for attending this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cho. We already have a question from our audience. So for the trench cutter machine, does the machine has a console or interface to retrieve data, such as an open API?
This machine. Yes, we have already installed some monitor system, but this data we cannot cannot collect the data on time. It means we cannot save this all the speed or RPM or pressure or whatever we cannot save. So, but these challenges, I want to get the data, all the data since start of excavation to end of the excavation.
Perhaps you could share more about the challenges. Is it because they are analog systems? I mean, is it that they are not connected to the network very hard to retrieve the data from these systems?
Yes, then in this presentation, actually, I add one more things which currently don't have this kind of system, like soil characteristic. So currently, any machine cannot detect the soil type during the excavation. So this statement, I challenge our company try to install this kind of sensor or data from the database. Yeah, then using for the detect of the soil type.
Okay, so just to understand, what are the common soil types in Singapore, and perhaps what are the characteristics that we can monitor?
Yes, I'm not from the geotechnical part, but as I had experience in Singapore, almost 10 years, then I knew that in Singapore have six to seven, I think less than 7 type of soil condition. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perhaps innovators could write in, and if they really need that detail. Okay. Just looking at the questions, no new questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Cho, for the presentation and helping to answer the questions. With that, we will proceed to the last challenge statement for today. So the last challenge statement, so it is AI-based video analytics for progress monitoring. So it will be presented by Alois O from Tiong Construction. Over to you, Alois.
Thank you, Sipeng. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alois, and together with me is Impo. We are from Tiong Contractors, and our topic today is AI-based video analytics for progress monitoring. Now, our challenge statement surrounds the intent to infuse AI capabilities to CCTV infrastructure to track 2 main things. Number 1 is the real-time progress tracking for structural floor cycle, and second is the structural stage condition. Now, as a note, we are using Dahua cameras as our CCTV infrastructure. There are 3 objectives to this challenge statement, which are also the deliverables of this entire exercise. Number 1 is to accurately identify and track structural work activities and quantify the amount of work done. This brings on to the second point, which is the provision of a daily summary of work done, right? So that we can compare the actual versus plan and to prompt users of any potential delays. The last objective is to deliver a digital platform for the purpose of user monitoring and analysis. Now, as an overview to the solution, we are looking at the 2 use cases in the red box, right? We are First, we have the structural stage completion that comprise of the 4 RC work activities. First, rebar installation. Second is the formwork installation. Third, concreting. And finally, formwork removal. Now, as an illustration, if you were to demarcate the entire slab, okay, using the region of interest labeled in red and the amount of work done for rebar labeled in white, we are able to quantify, perhaps this is a 30% work done out of the entire slab. And what we want to know is the actual duration taken for this activity. The same logic applies to the floor cycle. If you are able to demarcate the entire tower using the region of interest represented in red, right, with the base at 0% and the last floor as 100%, and if the current level holds at level 4 out of 5, we are able to say, okay, it's 83% completed. So in that sense, we are able to quantify the percentage of completion plus the actual duration taken. Now, for both solutions, we are looking at an accuracy percentage of perhaps 85% for a start, with the recognition that the model may not be that mature for a start. Now, moving on will be the digital platform. We are looking to host the CCTV live feeds in a platform that can be online or any other alternate platforms solution providers can come up with. In this platform, not only do we want to visualize the live CCTV feed, we also want to have a dashboard interface to visualize the recorded observations against the planned KPIs, so that users are able to make informed decisions. In this platform, we are also looking forward to perhaps a prompt to notify users. The medium can be through emails, Telegram, or up to you. We keep it flexible at the moment so that users can take swift actions. In the platform, we're also looking perhaps exportable file format in PDF, CSV, or Excel, right, with the purpose of sharing across different job functions. Now, moving on to the last one, which is the nice to have. We are looking to forward to perhaps having APIs for the digital platform so that we can pull data out of it to integrate, or rather to visualize them on perhaps data visualization tools such as Power BI. Okay, and the second nice to have would be the compatibility with BIM, so that we are able to map the CCTV zones with the drawing statuses stored in BIM to also say whether progress is affected by the drawing statuses. Now, this could be a future development and it's optional for now. Last one would be to go beyond the 2 main use cases and track other items such as machinery type, machinery usage, manpower, so that all these records are able to complement the structural activities to arrive at productivity data, which could be a value add to this whole solution. Now, this is my last slide. It's more of your information. For solution providers keen to take on this challenge, we are looking at piloting the solution at this project called HL20. It is currently at the structural floor cycle stage with a 7 days KPI per floor. So in that sense, if the solution is able to track the actual duration taken per floor, and we can compare against these 7 days, we're able to determine whether it's on time or it's lagging. Similarly, we are also tracking the stage completion at this site, mainly interested in the actual duration taken so that we can arrive at the productivity of productivity data. Okay. Now, solution providers, what you will be getting from us if you are keen to take on this challenge is the access to the CCTVs. You'll be getting them either through web URLs using the IP address, or you can connect them using Smart PSS as you'll be given the device serial number. Now, if along the way, during the prototyping stage, additional CCTVs are required, we can consider procuring them to install at static vantage points. My last point would be to highlight flexibility for solution providers to explore alternative methods to arrive at the same intended outcomes, as you guys may be more experienced in the technical know-hows. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alois. Question from Ivan. Would you be expecting the solution to be fully automatic or with some delays due to human in the loop type systems. Would you be open to one part of the solution, such as the platform with AI that can be deployed by your in-house data science team? It is quite a long question. Perhaps maybe the first one, whether you expect the solution to be fully automatic or can afford some delays.
I guess as a start, we can afford some delays. We are not expecting a very matured solution that is fully automatic, that is fully scalable at the moment. So human in the loop, I guess, is fine, so long as you are able to achieve the intended outcomes of making the informed decision to compare the actual versus plan and to intervene in time to make sure that the actual site progress for the structural works can meet the objective. That'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the second part of the question, Ivan is proposing whether you're open to one part of the solution, which is AI that can be deployed by your data science team. But just to check whether you have a data science team in the first place.
I can volunteer to be the data science team. Currently, we don't really have a data science team. On my end, I can represent that part of the domain knowledge. I mean, data science. On my end, I have access to the CCTVs. I'm also looking forward very much to this solution. So in that sense, with my interest, I'll be able to pick this up fairly quickly. Yeah, but to address you, Ivan, we do not have a data science team, and I'm not so sure whether one part of the solution is something that we have at the moment for you to tap on.
Maybe for me to ask a question. So because you mentioned that there might be potentially delays, just to help the innovators understand the construction operations a little more, what are the usual cause for delays?
Right. I think this is a question that we get most of the times. Among many other reasons, the main one of the main contributors are drawing statuses, because we know that structural floors rely a lot on precast elements, and this ties back to production statuses, and that in turn relates to the drawing statuses, which can be retrieved from BIM. So in that sense, in one of the optional nice to have, we mentioned that if the CCTV footages can be mapped with the BIM by zone to know that the drawing statuses, to associate the drawing statuses with the real-time site progress, we can tell whether it's being held up by wrong drawings or drawings pending approval. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Alois. I think there is no new questions coming in. And with that, we have completed all the presentations. Yeah, Alois, feel free to stop sharing. Yeah, so we have come to the end of our first Q&A session. So I think there was some new questions coming in, even after the presentation. And with that, I think we can spend a few minutes to further address those questions. Mr. Lu, are you there? Or is addressed already? Okay. So
Yes,
I received an update from the colleague that actually the Q&A session, but perhaps maybe just to reiterate your answer to the question whether the AI system needs to be real time, and maybe to share.
Already replied.
Okay.
Already answered. Answer.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Mr. Lu. Yeah. So I think my colleague has been doing a fantastic job to answer some of your questions. Just wondering whether there's any new questions from the floor. Just pausing for a few minutes because it takes time to type out those questions. Alternatively, you can use the raise hand function and I can give you the access to unmute yourself. Hello, Ivan. I have given you access.
Hi everyone, Ivan here from Ambient Systems. So this is more of a general question. So for the deadline, intermediate deadline on October 14th, what kind of information would be helpful to have in the proposals, like attached to the form? Like, would it be helpful to share, like, diagrams, schematics, things like that?
Yes. I believe that you have seen the proposal template, and inside the proposal template, there is already quite a number of questions, which by answering those questions, right, help us to gain clarity regarding your proposed solution. You will notice that the document is a Word document. So if you have any illustrations, feel free to include them just to help us better understand your proposed solution, because sometimes pictures work better than words. So definitely schematics diagram would be better. But I think for the early submission, I think you can try to work on your proposal as much as you can, which we will, based on what you have submitted, further advise you on what are the missing information, what is the information that help us better evaluate your proposal. And with that, you can resubmit your proposal. Yeah, so I hope that clarifies things.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Ivan, for your questions. So if there's no questions, I will wrap up today's session. Thank you so much for all the challenge statement owners that have attended today's session, and also given wonderful presentation for each challenge statements. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it at pm@padang.co, and we will help to channel those questions to the challenge statement owners. Thank you so much for your time, and with that, we will be ending the webinar.